Good evening, I'm Christina Gray with the CTV News Update. The U.S. Capitol went into lockdown this afternoon. Officials say 2 Capitol police officers were struck after a car rammed into one of the barriers surrounding the complex. Gunshots were reportedly fired. The incident happened around 1 p.m. A suspect is currently in custody. The suspect and the officers were taken to the hospital. Day 5 of the Derek Chauvin trial included testimony from the former police officer's colleagues. Among those taking the stand today was Minneapolis Police Lieutenant Richard Zimmerman, who rejected Chauvin's use of force against George Floyd, saying it was uncalled for and totally unnecessary. Zimmerman was asked about that use of force, the 9+ minutes when Chauvin pressed his knee in Floyd's neck.
Have you ever, in all the years you've been working for the Minneapolis Police Department, been trained to kneel on the neck of someone who is handcuffed behind their back in a prone position?
No, I haven't.
Is that, if that were done, would that be considered force?
Absolutely.
What level of force might that be?
That would be the top tier, the deadly force.
Why?
Because of the fact that if your knee is on a person's neck, that can kill him.
In response, Chauvin's attorney said police can improvise when lives are at stake. As a new federal mass vaccination center gears up to open in Greenbelt next week, the county executive is urging residents to sign up. Angela Alsobrook says you have to be pre-registered for a vaccine appointment at the site. Also, Brooks, who has been vaccinated, says sign up is required through the state of Maryland. The FEMA-operated site opens on Wednesday, April 7th.
What we've been told from FEMA and the state is that Prince Georgians, because this is in Prince George's County, will be given priority access if they sign up. We know a lot of people have pre-registered with the state already for appointments. If you already pre-registered, so they have your name and you haven't gotten an appointment anywhere yet, and you live nearby, so any of those zip codes that kind of surround that Greenbelt area, you don't need to do so again. They've already gone through all those zip codes and areas around Greenbelt. They've already pulled the names of Prince Georgians that are in those areas that are pre-registered, and they're, ready to give them appointments.
Eligible residents can pre-register at covidvax.maryland.gov. One lawmaker who has been critical of the state's vaccine rollout says Governor Hogan's recent announcement is great news. All Marylanders 16 and older can now pre-register for the COVID vaccine. Rosapip says he wants to make sure that all residents are able to get vaccinated as soon as possible. In the meantime, more than 1,400 Marylanders have contracted COVID-19 in the last day. That's according to the state health department. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to more than 414,000. Officials also say 16 people have died from the deadly virus in the last 24 hours. Meantime, more than 78,000 Prince Georgians have contracted the coronavirus. And the University of Maryland will resume in-person classes on Monday. That's according to the Diamondback. Dining halls will open to 50% capacity, and the Stamp Student Union will be available for limited activities. While restrictions are easing, officials say students and staff must continue to follow COVID safety guidelines. You're watching CTV News. I'm Christina Gray. Back in a moment.
I am what child hunger looks like in America. I am a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites me to a sleepover so I can have dinner. I am a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks during lunch so my friends won't know I don't have anything to eat. I am a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school just because I'm hungry. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger. Kids you pass by every day, but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
The county library system is expanding its reach by helping residents book COVID-19 vaccine appointments. It's launched a COVID-19 Vaccine Hunter hotline. Now, the hotline is open Monday through Friday to help you schedule appointments.
We're actually directly helping people get on pre-registration lists and directly book appointments for private healthcare sites, as well as the retail pharmacies and grocery stores. And the state and county sites don't necessarily do that all the time from their hotlines. So we're able to kind of present the full menu of options to anyone who comes to us seeking help with an appointment.
To reach the hotline, just dial 240-392-3622. English and Spanish staffers will be available to help callers from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. And a bill that would prohibit certain medical debt collection practices is headed to the governor. The measure recently passed both chambers unanimously in the Maryland legislature, but not without significant changes to the original proposal. Advocates are lamenting the loss of provisions stripped from the final text of the bill, including a provision that would have forbidden hospitals from suing patients for debt below $1,000. It comes at a crucial time during the pandemic and will assist poor families and people of color who are often saddled with too much debt.
Particularly now in the time of COVID, nationally, around 32 million people lost their employer-based insurance. That's the individual and their family members in total is about 32 million. Lost employer-based insurance, which many depended on to provide for their health care. So there are many people now who had health insurance, in 2019, early 2020 that don't have it right now, and they still need to seek medical care. We're also in a public health crisis, and you don't want to do anything that will deter people from seeking health care. And what we found from an October poll we had, that was a statewide poll of Marylanders, is that some people would be concerned about going to the doctor because they owed medical debt. And you don't want anyone to avoid care right now.
Under the legislation, hospitals cannot take action that would lead to the patient's arrest or place a lien on their house. Other practices would be banned for low-income patients, including the garnishing of wages. And the county school system and the University of Maryland are teaming up to address student mental health needs. University of Maryland has an ongoing course for its counseling graduate students and current Prince George's County Public School counselors. And the training will help them better recognize the signs of mental health struggles, including trauma.
We need to have folks that are specially trained to be able to address those things, because when those students are dealing with maybe traumatic experiences at home or in their community, they can't show up to school and be ready to learn. So we have to address those mental health concerns first, and provide supports and resources, and then get those students in a place where they can be available to learn in their classes.
Mitchell also hopes this program will be a pipeline for graduate students who have careers with the Prince George's County Public School System. With Maryland's blue crab season underway, Governor Larry Hogan is urging the Biden administration to make more H-2B visas available to help the state's seafood industry. Hogan is calling for an end to the lottery system and an increase in the number of temporary worker visas. Typically, about 450 seasonal workers are needed for the state's 23 licensed crab picking houses. Hogan says without an end to the current lottery system, some Maryland seafood processors will not be able to open for business. And the governor says failure to act threatens the state's $355 million seafood industry. And there is good news on the economic front tonight. The U.S. economy added 916,000 jobs in March, marking the biggest gain since August. The unemployment rate inched down to 6%, which is down from 6.2% in February. And the March numbers represent the third straight month of growth. We'll be back with more news in a moment. Stay tuned.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
The Maryland Senate passes a polarizing police reform bill. The vote last night was 32-15. The bill repeals the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. It also would change the disciplinary process for police officers. And the bill now goes back to the House, which approved an earlier version of the measure. Meantime, police are investigating a fatal car crash in Mitchellville. The head-on collision occurred yesterday morning near Enterprise Road and Clearfield Drive. Both drivers were taken to an area hospital where one was pronounced dead. Police asking anyone who may have witnessed the incident to give them a call. A Bishop McNamara Sr. isn't letting her age stop her from changing the skincare world. Meet 17-year-old Raquel James. This young entrepreneur created a soap business called Serena Scents. James started her line to help herself and others who suffer from eczema. She says her business has picked up because of the pandemic.
I've heard that my bars are very moisturizing. I've heard that one bar actually helped somebody's hyperpigmentation. They had like a bad hyperpigmentation and it evened out their skin tone. And I was really shocked about that because I didn't know my bar had so much effect on them, but it did. I had a parent say how when they used the bar for their family, because they suffered with eczema also, that they noticed a change in their skin too for the better and not the worse.
For more information, visit Serena Scents on Facebook or the website on your screen. Good Friday observances are being held around the world today. And it's a solemn day for Christians as they prepare for Easter this Sunday. The First Baptist Church of Highland Park in Landover welcomed members this afternoon. The pastor, Dr. Henry Davis, talked about the godly sacrifice made on this day thousands of years ago.
This is a day much different. Some of us are spending time in a fast. Well, Jesus was fasting because Jesus had his last meal on that Thursday, which we call Maundy Thursday. But then we get up, and now Jesus is heading to the Calvary's cross.
Pastor Davis will lead Easter services at Highland Park on Sunday. 3 filmmakers discussed their works of art during a roundtable discussion this afternoon. And the event was a part of the Mother Tongue Film Festival, which showcases cultural and linguistic diversity from around the world. Today's discussion was about language revitalization and the pressures from dislocations or forced relocations.
Each of these films approaches storytelling in a different way. That's the theme of this year's Mother Tongue Film Festival.
We are the result of an African father and a Carib Arawak mother.
The Garifuna in Peril, it's a docudrama. It's really about Reuben's life, but he's put it in a fiction storytelling, and it touches on a lot of the issues with language shift, language loss, and language revitalization. The Bazabali film is really also about empowerment of young kids and how they, with language, reclaiming their language and culture, they are empowered to do good in their lives and in their community.
Indigenous peoples have worked for decades to revitalize their languages.
And the other film is really talks about how different communities are really taking control of their education and education in their languages as well.
For more information on the festival or to view the films online, go to mothertongue.si.edu. And that's your CTV News Update. Have a great weekend. I'm Tracina Gray.